Show on stream. Okay, I think we're going now. I don't know. I'm going to get over to YouTube, but I think things are happening now. I'm going to bring Julie in 1 second next. Let's go ahead and let's close a new window there. Let's go to invite guest, copy link. Let's bring it in here now for Julie. Get her in here. Join.
Jules joined.
Okay, I've got Jules is in. On stream, okay, Jules. Now I need to go ahead and send.
It starts to go chaser and
her link as well.
I don't know him really
I don't even know if
well,
this is going there yet. I'll sign off in a second here. So there's their new link. Hopefully some people showed up. We'll see where we're at in a second. I'm going to go back to my YouTube console.
I'll finish it.
Let's go to here, my channel, and we're live right now. And it showed that there we go, we're live. All right, so we've got a stream going up. We've got some people. All right, good. We've got everything kind of showing up, analytics. All right, got 15 people at least out of 30. It's better than nothing. we got stuff up and going.
Yeah.
We've got that there. Now Beverly should be showing up shortly, hopefully. I'm gonna have to call her. But welcome back, everybody. Yeah, not sure what happened. We were right in the middle of the stream, and all of a sudden we saw some people in the chat were going and saying, "Hey, we're buffering and stuff at this point in time." And then I checked it, and yeah, we were buffering, and it wasn't our computer or our router or anything. We've got great data connections and everything, but what we're dealing with was just if you want to call something going on with YouTube, or they didn't like what was going on, and someone in the federal government got in the way and kicked us out. All right, so I'm gonna call Beverly. Call her next.
Can you hear Bev, Thomas?
What was that again, Jules? What was that again?
You hear Beverly? Because I.
No, she's not on yet. I'm calling her right now.
She's on.
I'm calling her. She's not on yet.
Bee's calling you.
I'm calling her.
She was on.
You could see her on the chat, or she in
I could hear her.
No, she's not here because she's not a part of the conversation right now. She may have been part of the old one.
Well,
hey, yeah, you're on the old chat right now. That one is shut down. I've sent you a new link. Yeah, no wonder why you could hear. Actually, you could because she was still on the old chat. I'll see you in a second, Beverly. Thanks. Bye-bye. All right. I know the conversation of everything Beverly had going and everything was just kind of, if you want to call it, getting really interesting. And then the stream died. And this is the first time this has happened since I've been streaming all the time since like March, April of this year. So I guess stuff happens, but Beverly will be coming right back in on the new link that I've sent her, and we can get back and pick up where we're at. So yeah, it's been a really interesting conversation so far, hasn't it, Jules?
It really has. And I'm just laughing at all the weirdness because, that all these kind of shows are plagued by weirdness.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes.
Oh, I know. Absolutely. Like before on the last show I was on,
I was talking to her the whole time. I don't know if the audience could hear her.
No one could. No, we couldn't hear her because the stream had died. So yeah, it's like someone said. Martin, or the audience is saying crossing the streams. Kind of like in Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Yep. Don't do that.
Yeah. Hey, we got Thomas Reynolds just showed up from Upstate UAP Faction. Thanks for showing up, Thomas. You're now a subscriber. Please you're now a moderator. Please go ahead and tap on that subscribe button. Do some magic here, right down to here. We'd appreciate it. If anyone else is here, go ahead. Hopefully you had that little bell go off to let you know that there was a new stream starting up to get going here. Hopefully Beverly shows up soon. She'll be here.
Tell your friends. that we're back on.
Exactly. One of those days, you know. If it can go wrong, it will.
Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, well.
Yeah.
But you sent Beverly the new link, right?
Yeah, I've sent her the new link. If not, she can call me. So if Beverly, where you at? Told her to call if web doesn't work. We're set for everything around here. Can definitely bring it on in. So yeah, you know, her time in the Navy was interesting. It's like she had those words and different things coming into her mind, and then she actually got this, you know, urge to go ahead and go back on the ship. And then she was back there. She saw, you know, a UFO.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. She was meant to be up there. That was for her.
Okay,
I mean,
Beverly
obviously,
said she's
was
calling.
that song beforehand.
I don't see her calling yet. Not calling yet. Let me go ahead to text messaging here. We'll get there soon, I promise. We're plagued.
We have to remember she was talking about Dean Radin and the Noetic Institute, because that should be very interesting when she gets back.
Yeah, ring. You know, I could start the, well, someone said it's ringing and everything like this, but apparently make sure I have my audio. Ah, here we go. Beverly?
Yay.
Are you there, Beverly? Can you hear her? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, so let me get that taken care of. That's just... I just need to go to my audio really quick and make sure that's going to be fine. Otherwise, no one's going to be able to hear her. So let me get over into, FaceTime. She can hear me, but I need the audio to go out to the, where is it at? No, I don't want it to go to there. Well, I can hear her here. Wait a second. Streaming mic. I need to have FaceTime coming in, going to hear. Beverly, say something again.
Hello, something again.
All right. And you can hear her, right, Jules?
No.
All right. That means she's not getting the mic. Well, I know why. Hold on. Let me make sure I've got the right thing selected in my audio here. Audio, that's why. All right. Here we go. So, streaming. Okay, Beverly, say something now.
Something now.
All right.
All right, we're set. We're back. Thank God. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I just had to pipe you in, your audio in through the one channel into the other thing so everybody can go and hear it. So everyone in, I'll say TV land, YouTube land is actually can hear us now, and I can get that audio to Jules to send it back to her over satellite. It's not complex at all.
Nothing. Yeah.
No.
We make it work. So we were just talking about quantum consciousness, I think.
Actually,
The
the integration that needs to happen really between the quantum
Were you talking about the Noetic Institute?
Yes.
Yeah, let's pick up there.
Noetic, and the definition of what noetic is. It is written on my page right here, so I didn't get it right. It states of insight into depths of truth unplumbed by the discursive interest studying subjective experience and ways consciousness may influence the physical world. They have done some amazing studies into possibilities, not just possibilities, but realities of psi, all things connected psi, the RV, the astral projection, the psychokinesis, the moving things, seeing blindfold. Caroline Corey, that made the documentary Superhuman, making the invisible visible.
Yeah.
That YouTube channel is Rob Freeman is actually running that channel now with the Seeing Blindfolded. And Rob Freeman, if you guys don't know, Making Contact, Be Inspired, he has one of the most expansive setups in the world documenting this stuff besides military, but has been traveling the globe documenting different people's consciousness encounters and other things. And interesting point about him is he even states that there is a huge difference when you're filming and trying to film the phenomena and when you put the cameras away. They know when you're filming. So demanding clear, inevitable, undeniable proof is not going to get us anywhere. We have to realize that we have no control over this phenomena. They understand exactly who can see them, when they can see them, and there is a level of respect for us and a respect for our free will and our conscious choices that they know who can accept their existence and who can't, and they're very careful because if, like most UFO videos, you watch them, the moment somebody starts screaming in fear, I mean, it's just not long after they're gone. I mean, the encounter's over. I'm not saying at all there's not some real phenomena with the abduction and other stuff, but again, there's many different phenomena. This side of the phenomenon is very concerned with not causing us fear. They don't want to be worshipped. They don't want to be feared. They just, it's basically just understanding that we are one and we share a coexistence with them, these beings, and we're able to communicate via the field of consciousness. And it's in that same field that quantum mechanics are proving that mind affects matter even at great distances through unbelievable barriers. There are none. Everything is connected, and that's what that's proving. And in order to really get further in disclosure, as somebody that's experienced the myriad of things I have, I truly feel that we need to get the noetic sciences, the quantum sciences, the regular sciences, and like SU and these other scientific minds, that they need to realize that Project Mockingbird didn't just work with the mainstream media. Academia's been infiltrated for 50 years. They were taught to look at this phenomena a certain way, and by people that know the power of words and suggestions and consciousness themselves. So we've been manipulated this whole time and believing it's not real.
Wow.
They blackball people.
Well, go ahead, Julie.
I was just going to say, yeah, they definitely over the years have blackballed people. They've lost their tenure. You know, they've run them out of town on a rail pretty much if they try to study things that the academia does not approve of. And hopefully that's going to end. It's time for it to end, because science is supposed to look at the strange things and try to find answers to it. That's their job.
It's kind of like that analogy of saying that you're going to check the existence of whether there's a whale in the dolphin. So you pull up a bucket of water out of the ocean. Well, there are no whales in my bucket, therefore there's no whales in the ocean. It's just the same principle applies. You don't know what you don't know. And the wise words, beware false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance.
Yes, and they all seem to cling to how many pieces, how small can we break it apart? It's the break it apart science instead of look at the big picture science.
Yeah.
You know?
There's if I can find it here, there's a really cool comment from Robin Hood 1966, just brought up and said, spooky interactions at a distance is the uniform field of an omni-entangled quantum field. All matter, energy, inorganic, organic is all the sum of the whole.
We are one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you ever read about the law of one?
I did. I'm very non-judgmental about it, non-opinionated, except for the fact that I do not like anything that tells people that there's only a certain amount of chosen, there's only a certain amount of specials. There's only 144,000 that's going to make it in the God's kingdom, and you're screwed.
No,
I don't No, just on all the different ones.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. It's,
And, you
it's
know, they
something that
don't
I
tell you.
truly believe is innate within all of us.
Well, the law of one
Yeah.
is basically saying that we are all one, and it's a channel discussion, which you may have some experience with channeling by some of the things that you've said. That basically comes back, and it's a channeling of an entity is a fifth or seventh level entity by the name of Ra, who has been involved with humanity in the the building of it over a long period of time. It's a real interesting story. It's available at, I think it's at the lawofone.info.
Well, channeling is basically the same thing that people like Mozart and Beethoven and Tesla and Einstein all did and said. They pulled their ideas from the ethers. They were given their ideas from so and so. They knew that the ideas were their own, but they reached them either because they accessed the consciousness field or
Yeah, but that's almost something where you're going at and actively reaching out and accessing the quantum consciousness. But in the part where you're actually going and like channeling where the stuff came in from Ra, you actually leave and someone comes in and takes over your body and then is channeling word by word of all the long stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I know that's true, but I know a lot of people in this field don't really want to talk about that. I've been in this for like 5 years, and I've already told you things that I haven't told anybody else because I'm really to the point to where the shift's happening, and we're running out of days before it does, and we've got to wake up. We've got to wake up to the realities of our reality, and that is the only way to take back our true power from those that would seek to suppress us all for their own gains.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the trick, even, Julie? A lot of time, everything comes down to the money and how they can have the money and how they can make it all and charge us for everything to a degree. And even if we did have things come around that would help, if you want to bring us to another level of technology and creation, it's almost they'd want to keep us back because they're not gonna have their way of generating their money.
Mm-hmm. And then again, if we look into all the different
definitely
instances of organizations investigating.
I think Julie was saying something here. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There's a delay. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I definitely think that, with the burning of Alexandria, even back that far, and the hiding of it, of all the truths in the secret societies, yes, they were preserving it, but it's time they let that stuff out. If they were preserving it for the people, it's time they start letting that stuff out.
But that's where we come back to the day when we go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Well, it's like you say, right now only the people who are, the ones at the top actually know the truth of these things, and they learn them as kids, like everyone should, but they need to give it back to the masses because the planet's dying and we need everyone's help, to change this reality.
We've never been in a time before with so many different prophecies and actual shifts are happening at the same time. It really is remarkable. And in the large world of empaths, or those that are inclined to have that stronger intuition between remote viewers and astral projectors and experiencers and poets and everybody, there's these statements around already. I've felt this thing coming. I don't know what it is, but it's big, and they've been saying this for a couple of years, and I believe it's about a lot more than just finding out there's little gray men, because there is. There's a lot more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like with the noetic sciences, they have peer-reviewed studies from independent sciences, and they are being refused ability to publish the writings. And then when we look at all these organizations that were, let's take for example Bledsoe's, because they're a well-known name from TTSA and DOD and everybody being interested. All those years that they were with them and investigated them, did they ever say anything publicly about the peaceful interactions? They weren't even interested in it, in the profound ways that it changed this family. They weren't interested in that. It seems like the only thing they were interested in is finding the part of it that they could control and manipulate to their own needs, because it's all from a defense strategy, and thinking from a defense strategy is also thinking from an offense strategy, and separates the one, and they're not going to get anywhere to figuring out the truth when you only come at it from that perspective, because it's so much more than that.
What was that again, Julie? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I do think that there are people who are like, okay, let them talk. I mean, I love Chris Bledsoe and Ryan and everybody, and I think that there are people within the government definitely who did not want anything to get out ever, but I do think that there are those that do, and that's the only reason we're hearing anything now. And I'm thankful that they had the strength to speak out.
I hear you, and it's just about taking that and be able to take it to the next level. But my only concern is, I was saying this earlier tonight, that ever since we've hit disclosure, it's just been, people have been like, if they say before, button your upper lip, which is basically don't say anything. And even from anyone who's in the Senate or in the House of Representatives in Congress, no one's saying anything. And it's just gotten really eerily quiet. And, there's been some, talk that potentially the USAF is trying to put the genie back in the bottle. But I don't think that's really going to happen, because there's too much out there, and you have other countries who are moving forward. And that's something we need to do as a country and everything. And maybe that's going to have to coming from more individuals like us, like Jules, like Beverly, who have the opportunity and they have the knowledge and the ability to where we can, try and take this level of communication to the next level. And as I've been saying, it's kind of, having that live stream moment or that selfie moment, that you're there with the ETs and broadcasting it, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or something. But we just need to start taking this out, and we need to take control of it.
Indeed, and there's actually a really good movement that's working towards that exact goal. I'm sure you guys have heard of them, but I highly encourage everybody to look into the backgrounds, both academically and scientifically, of the people behind the harmonic convergence and the UFO, the Unify, the thing this weekend. Let me hint back to, there was somebody in the chat that just said something about the Schumann resonance. The 20th of last month, the Schumann resonance hit the highest peak it's ever hit, hours after the Fire the Grid meditation that was done globally through this very organization. And it's the one with Mark Sims and I've got all their names written down, but Mark Sims, Alan Steinfeld, Richard Dolan, Sheehan, Grant Cameron, Linda Moulton Howe, Daryl Annika, and all of these brilliant people. And yeah. I was watching her live getting ready for yours, and she said something that really stuck out to me, and she's on the page. She's not what people think she is. She's in this for the right reasons. Now, I don't know about her past. I didn't study it, but she's in it for the right reasons. Nobody knows the truth of the origin of what this is. Like Stephen Greer's camp, I mean, I'm grateful for the man for all he did and for helping me find out that this was even possible. But to make such bold statements and like different people in the CE5 community, like I've always been curious, because I've talked to a lot about their personal experiences, and these people I have grown to love, respect, and trust.
Yeah. And
they're able to name a star system that an entity comes from, and that's kind of confused me, because there's so many different ones.
Yeah.
And with the conscious human interface, I have to ask myself, since they are so able to read our intent and our intentions and our cognitive needs to be able to understand something, if they don't shift themselves to whatever, like if we have a preset decision of what they are, like if they're shifting themselves to be that set so that it's easier for the person to digest. Not saying that it can't be, because there are
Yeah.
there are beings from other star systems coming.
Yeah.
But
My only problem I have with Greer, if I could say it really quick,
yeah,
I have a problem where he wants to say, I want my $3,000 and I want it now. You know, it's just kind of like he's just too much into the money and the charging. It's almost kind of like the step system of what they've got coming from, shall I say, Scientology, you know,
well,
into ufology, but
yeah.
the costs of what they're charging and everything. But we were talking about this earlier. This isn't something that you can just go and pay $3,000 and all of a sudden be able to do it. Is it, Beverly?
No, because okay, those $3,000 things, I do have to stay here. That Stephen Greer has everything up for free online via his YouTube channel, his social media, the serious disclosure, everything's free. These seminars, I mean, we don't get mad when personal trainers charges money, or when a college professor tutor charges us extra for that one-on-one time. We don't. Yeah, a yoga teacher, we pay a yoga teacher. I mean, this person has been in this fight for over 30 years. He quit his job and he's obviously dedicated to it. Whether he's been compromised along the way, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the
I mean,
Atacama,
but
the Atacama thing, that
for
wouldn't.
dinner, starting at $10,000 for dinner, up to $20,000, and that's per plate.
Yeah, yeah. I trust me. I'm not a fanatic.
Yeah,
But I
neither
can
am I.
I'm looking at it from a higher,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, what's this about? But like the Atacama thing, all right, it would not be the first time that the people in charge put fake evidence in somebody's hands and made them believe it was real in order to discredit them, or erase their histories, or erase their emails, or you know, it's debunk and desist and divert is their strategy, and it still plays out well. And that's why there's so much confusion and bickering in the UFO field right now, is because we're still fighting that same system of control.
Yeah.
And the thing, really, my intuitive sense here is there's a lot more going on than just UFOs. There's a lot more going on than UFOs. I'm sorry, they've back engineered it. We all know this. We've seen it from every country.
No.
I mean, Australia's reports, our reports, and
honestly, I don't think, you know, Elizondo, you know, to quote, well, where's that at? You know, to quote Lou on some of the stuff that he said on the different stuff that's going on. But every time you say Lou Elizondo, you have to have the, oh, I can't even, that's why I don't have my glasses on now, do I? Oh, anyway, 1 second here. Anytime, you know, here we go. Anytime you see Lou Elizondo, you know, it's kind of that, you know, everyone really appreciates him and everything that he's got going on. But even he was saying that we understand the math of how this technology works, but we don't have the material science to recreate it, because we got two things that are going on. One is you've got the metals and materials are being made out of 214 isotopes, not out of elements. And not only that, they've got layers of these materials that are one atom thick, which is like made at a certain, you know, really high level of precision for creating this stuff. And this goes across all of the stuff that they've got, not just the sign for the restroom, but the entire ship. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
I fall back on the consciousness and the quantum
Yes.
of the aspects of this phenomena.
Yeah.
If you think you understand it, then know that you don't. There is no math to it. I don't understand what he means by that.
Who?
It's anybody that says he knows the math of how these machines work.
We don't. No, we understand the math of how the ships are moving.
Yeah.
We understand the math, if you want to call it, of how parts of the ships are created, right? But what we lack is the ability to recreate the stuff that we're looking at and seeing. So that's what he means, is we don't have the math with regards to how these ships work, how they move, how they go from 0 to 43,000 miles per hour in a fraction of a second. So that's the kind of math and things we understand. We understand about the technology that's in the hulls of the craft, what they're all put together, the different sciences that go down to those things. But what we don't understand is how to create anything that in a method that's anything similar to what we're seeing. Does that make more
But
sense?
they're trying. But they're trying.
Oh, yeah, they're trying. But
Lou gave it away in one of his interviews, a little drop bomb that just blew me away. Quote, right now, in a dark room at DARPA, there's a guy in a room operating a drone halfway across the world using his consciousness. Unquote. When we use that with the anti-gravity and the laser beams and all of this amazing technology that seems to be really coming out in this last year with no natural form of evolving from, I mean, you can't make a light bulb without the glass first, you know, and there's no natural evolution of these studies. I mean, it's staring us right in the face, and we're just letting narratives push us and division. And it's all about the division. The whole thing with the politics and the COVID and the race and the religions, it's all being driven on us to not pay attention. Because united, we overcome them.
Yeah, I mean,
period.
Even President Reagan was talking about that back when he was in office a long time ago, and saying if we had, a threat that potentially came from a civilization from outer space, basically saying that if we had a threat that would come to the planet from the United Nations level, that could bring us together and unite us as a world.
But was that already an idea formed by nefarious forces, or was it an idea? I mean,
well, he had already gone, and it's been suggested and reported that Reagan had made deals with Russia, which was the other big world power at the time, that if something comes and happens, that we're going to team up to, take on whatever's there. So there already are agreements that Reagan did put in place at that time. And he was the one who was instrumental in the Star Wars program that was initially put in back in the 80s. And my sister was going and making different kinds of cool satellites to go up in orbit when she was working at TRW.
Which is something else that's being overlooked in this community right now. Russia is pushing for a weapons ban in outer space. And we won't sign it. Won't even acknowledge it.
We should. There should be no weapons in outer space, because when the United States did attempt to go ahead and put some nukes up in orbit, and they were doing initial test flight, and they had the initial crap, but it didn't have the bomb on it, but it had the actual bomb itself without the nuclear material, at least they say. When we got that up there and it went into upper orbit, there was a saucer that went and came around it and shot a beam at it from 3 different sides and basically caused the thing to go and spin off and go out of control. So they've already shown us that they don't want our stuff like that in space.
I mean, yeah, they can absolutely interfere with the nuclear. We've seen that. We've seen them interfere with any electronics. But for people to wrongly think that they'll save us, I mean, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, those islands, I mean, they're not here. We have to save ourselves. We can't be looking, but by going within ourselves and higher, we can invite a collaboration to help us evolve, to figure out the answers to fix this huge mess that we're in right now.
Yeah, I hear you. And, there's a reason why they're showing themselves over more cities in greater numbers more frequently. We've gone from seeing 1 or 2 around here at a time in the Pacific Northwest Washington area. And we had a recent thing go on 3-4 weeks ago, and we had 7 flying over. So
you're surrounded by CE5 and HICE and ESETI and all that stuff up there.
No, I'm just saying, and that's all way down south. The cult's down way far south of me. We're up.
Cult! It's not a cult.
Just a lot of people say that.
And here's another point I need to make, Stephen Greer. Okay, for a cult leader to be a cult, they have to enforce a belief in their followers that they can only attain whatever information if they come through that person. Greer is fanatic. Nobody needs him. Anybody can do this. Go do this in your backyard. You can teach people. Yeah. I get irritated with that. And my biggest problem with Mr. Elizondo, I respect him. I'm not trying to say he's a disinfluence, because I don't freaking know. But for him and his background, he intimately knows the cognitive frisson that is caused when you throw around the word terrorist. And for him to use that against Greer, and to also sit here and wait for somebody to talk about these peaceful interactions that are happening globally, it's definitely a reason for concern.
Yeah, I hear you. Anyway, so we also have 1,100 nuclear warheads about 30 miles to the west of me. So it is a good attraction spot for UFOs in the area, just because of more those nuclear weapons than anything. And plus, over on the eastern side of Washington State, we also have Hanford, which is a huge nuclear waste dump, and plus, it's where they're still dealing with some plutonium for for weapons manufacturing. So we've got plenty of things to attract them around here. But usually, we would see one or two at a time. But here it's gone to 7, but it's gone like this in Florida, in New York, in California, in Iowa, all over the place. The number that we've been seeing has just been ratcheting up and escalating. And it's not just here, it's all over the world. So
it is.
They're trying to get everybody used to the fact of saying, hey, military Yankee, you can't stop us. More importantly, hey, people, check us out. Don't be afraid, because we're here and we're moving forward with whatever we're going to do, because an escalation has implications on it that something's moving forward more than it has before.
I kind of feel like they're pointing to this box, this thing, and saying, this will be the end of you if you do not stop your way.
Oh, yeah. They want us to stop nuclear, period. Absolutely. They want us to stop all of our nuclear ambitions and things we've got going on, because if we have another event that goes on with this, what do you call it? If we have another event that goes on with the sun, or from other purposes, where you get, the oceans rising up in 1,000-foot, tidal waves crashing over all of our shores. We have over 200 nuclear reactors right now that are on the shores of the oceans around the world that are a major threat to the Earth coming out of any kind of cycle like that. Plus, you have all the nuclear reactors that are on the surface that'll also get massively damaged. Then you have all the nuclear bombs and everything of stuff that could go on. So they've been telegraphing that they don't like nuclear for some time, and
we're also in a new solar cycle, and it's been throwing out some pretty gnarly winds, showing us that our ionosphere is weaker than we thought. But then again, when we have people trying to play gods and trying to manipulate weather and just manipulating the ionosphere in select spaces, what do you expect? I mean, yeah.
But HAARP was only one location. There's antenna arrays like that all around the world now.
That technology is everywhere.
They actually just built a couple more sites in India.
Yeah, that's just the one that we know about.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, but there's a whole bunch of other ones. You should check into that. It's the same type of antenna array for low frequency modulation and going and hooking into the ionosphere and all that kind of stuff.
It sure does help all this global warming we got going on to suit an agenda, doesn't it? I mean, when we think about tides, I'm not even going to get into that because people think it's conspiracy theory. But part of this awakening is not just awakening to the fact that we're not alone. It's also awakening to the truth of our reality now, and that we are all being played. The right, the left, the white, the black, they all have the same puppeteer above them waging war to keep them fighting with each other. Some people want to call that loose. Other people want to call that, hey, divert attention so I can keep control. Because if they combine and unite, we're done with. And all of this is this division is insanity. And people are just not wanting to realize it. And that's just
a lot of people get
scary.
Stuck in this watching shows like ours, but please continue to watch and please subscribe. But it's a lot of distractions of people getting into the screens in front of them and no longer enjoying the nature and stuff like Jules has around her. I've got a forest around here. I've had the crows calling for me all night again. But it's like you have these animals and this nature and all this stuff, but then you have this, spirituality and things in the mind and everything that's just, it takes you to get to, and it's just, it's kind of left to the wayside or shunned or made fun of. Right, Julie? Jules? Uh-oh. You lost your audio. Hold on. Can you guys hear Julie?
Yeah, is that better?
Okay, we got you now.
Got me now?
Perfect, yes.
It was me.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
Okay, sorry. I was going to agree with you that They think that you're odd if you live close to nature, you know. And that's one of the things I've been trying to do for over a decade now is live close to nature, have some conveniences like internet, no matter how crappy it may be, and but you know, but to live closely with nature so that you can talk with it, you know, commune with it, know which way the wind blows and stuff. But people do think you're pretty weird, and maybe I am. If I am, then that's fine by me.
I happen to love the studies of the consciousness effects on water to the molecular level, and that they even found that a plant, if they played the sound of a plant's natural predator coming up to it, there was measurable responses in the plant for self-defense.
Oh, yeah.
And consciousness really is in everything.
Yeah.
Everything is
everything
connected in a way that we can't. I mean, a dog is not going to be able to understand that we got bills to pay and that's why we leave, and you got to pay. You just can't grasp it. It's just different levels, but we're trying, and we're getting help, and that's another reason that I really stand behind what Mark Sims and them are all doing, because they've been doing this the exact word of it. It's the harmonic convergence they do every year in August for the Lionsgate, and this started like 30-something years ago.
Yeah.
But it's really gaining up steam, and it's giving people their own ability to realize that it's all connected.
Yeah.
And the geniuses behind it. Okay, Mark Sims is an engineer, a serial entrepreneur. He's got a degree in computer aided design. Jimmy Blanchett, who, if you guys watch Grant Cameron or he's with Mark Sims there, Grant Cameron's Lifting the Veil video, but you can also find Jimmy Blanchett via YouTube channel CE5 videos. He is an analytical chemistry bachelor's in chemistry. He's an international consultant, methods development chief, QC lab management director of operations, VP of operations, quality manager for aerospace, Valencia, California. This man has been doing CE5 for a decade, and he has finally developed his own fancy smancy kind of satellite that can send out a coded message. And consciousness is, of course, the first step, but he is able to validate via video and RF frequency by having separate ham radios all on the same frequency. It is scientifically, humanly impossible to interfere in those 4 different radios differently in different ways at different times, because they're all on the same frequency. One frequency carries one voice, and they're able to manipulate it. What he's showing with that combined with the visual is that there is a collaborative effort of communication going on here, and people just keep overlooking it, obfuscating it. It's too woo. But again, the woo is pressed upon us by those that don't want us to know, and we really need to get over that.
Absolutely. And
I've seen some of those videos where they're working with the little ham radios, and it's very interesting.
It is. It really is. It's going to be monumental. Okay, and you also know that the UAP expedition has their photo before they went out for their thing. Did you notice Caroline Corey was there with them?
No, I didn't.
Looking at Caroline Corey, she's a lifetime experiencer. She's behind the documentary Superhuman, Making the Invisible Visible. She's an amazing human being. But when they got back, sure enough, Twitter sure lit up. They've got a bunch of data. They're getting peer reviewed. And I really feel like they're on to the right step. And they're also involved with the show that just came out on Showtime. But the thing is, they're also co-filming Caroline's next show about contacting ETs.
Interesting.
They don't know whether to call them ET. We don't know what to call them, because all of our words signify a certain emotional tie or a preconceptual idea or a box. Everything has to have a word and has to have its own box, and we put it, and it limits everything doing that. And by thinking it's
Yeah.
alien or evil or good or physical or ultra dimensional or extraterrestrial, or we just don't know. What we do know is that the compounded body of proof proves without a shadow of a doubt to any reasonable mind that isn't suffering cognitive dissonance on the umpteenth scale that there is way more than meets the eye here. And then when you take into the fact that science has even discovered that our basic five senses that they narrowed it down to, it ignores anything in our reality that doesn't directly affect our survival.
Wow. Well, yeah.
But when you reintroduce consciousness as your first level of sense and not your last, that's when you can see and hear and feel and know.
Yeah, I guess it just comes down to, like Bob Birkin just said, communicating and being able to raise your, like you're saying, raise the vibration up and being able to get to that next level to be able to reach out and to be able to experience these types of things. And it just comes into your ability to, or people's, we're only limited by the things that we think that we can do. And if we think that we can't do something, then we're going to fail no matter how we try, because we think we can't do it. If you always feel that you can and don't limit yourself, especially with meditation, that's where the sky's the limit, literally.
Quantum observer belief effect, 100, 1 million times. Belief will either limit you or enable you. And it's your decision. And if you want to,
I think a lot of people are afraid.
And all the history that comes behind that, there's just more to it than we understand. And by placing barriers on it, we're not going to understand it. If we've already defined, well, it can be this, but it can't be that, you're not going to know the truth. You have to be open. We have to get science to open up. We have to get academia to open up. We have to get them to realize that they have been limited on purpose and their perceptions, and that they need, it's easier to fool someone than it is to convince somebody that they've been fooled, right? I mean, 100 times down. But we've got to come to that finding. We have to. And having coalitions like the ones between UAPX and Caroline Corey and UPC or US SCU and NORCAP and all these different pieces are starting to fit into place here. And more and more people are waking up to look that there's some reason that all these old school original gangster ufologists, researchers, why there's such a strong number of them that turn to this woo aspect. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't answer it, but it gets us closer to understanding.
Yeah. I guess it comes down to if we can really get this contact initiative to actually move forward and actually go ahead and try and get communication to where it needs to be. It's just, and we can hear from the ETs themselves, because we've got 75 years of lies that have been out there that have silenced any kind of communication or things that have come across. We darn well know that if anything has gotten to the government in any kind of a message, and it's a message that they're not going to like, they're not going to let us know. So it's a matter of, we can wait for stuff to be, spoon fed out, a grain of sand at a time from the ocean's beaches in total. Maybe we can, work together in a collaborative manner globally with all the different experiencers and find a way to actually get it to move forward and actually make that contact happen. Because if we can actually hear the other side of the story, not just all the questions of where they came from, what did they do, and all those kind of things to the degree. The main thing is, what's your mission? Why are you here? What do you need? There's some, the where, what, when, how kind of stuff. We just need to understand the bigger picture of, You know, is there, like you're saying, is there a concern about the environment, or with me on nuclear or other things of different stuff that they've gone and, came across with? Jules is a phenomenal remote viewer. Now imagine a society of consciousness, or people in a consciousness that's 10,000, 100,000, who knows how many more years advanced than where we are today as a civilization. So if Jules can check stuff out with remote viewing, and imagine what level they must be at, being able to look at stuff in the future and the past while they're, going around in these crafts that are actually disconnected from our timeline because they're in a gravitational warp field that's exhibiting the properties of a black hole, where they're warping space and time and space around the craft as it passes through our atmosphere and water and, even molten lava.
Yeah, indeed. That's another reason I'm so excited about the superhuman studies and the seeing blindfolded, because it's using that same ability that you use when you remote view, and they are trying to get it taught in schools, in elementary schools.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they should, because anyone can do it. It's
blind people.
The more
They
fun you
just have
have,
the blind woman see colors and numbers. I mean, it's pretty world changing, and people keep thinking that, oh, we're gonna have some groovy freaking VR tech game to play with and flying cars. It's about so much more than that. The true potential of a true human evolution of consciousness is unbounded. It's unimaginable, the changes of positive and meaningful, profound ways humanity is going to be changed once we elevate the technology of our consciousness.
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily the technology.
yes,
But the understanding and being able to
Yeah.
implement it into our everyday lives. And that is their definition of technology.
You're going to say something, Jules?
yes. Oh, I was just going to say, hopefully they'll do it with consciousness and not try to do it with technology, because I don't think they ought to try to hack consciousness the way they have, the way like Neuralink and things are doing. Forgive me, Elon. I think you're a cousin of my husband's. But anyway,
war on drugs, war on mushrooms.
I don't approve of Neuralink. I think they ought to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
No.
But psilocybin, though, is a totally natural substance. I think it's been very crucial to the evolution of our consciousness. And it's something they want to call a drug and say that's really bad. Some states have actually come around and started coming around on the subject. And it's something that people, if they're interested in it, can search on YouTube. You can find videos, and I'll show you what you need to do to go to deal with your own mycology, scientific experiment and go from that point. But it's, they've been doing some amazing studies.
Or deal with the shaman. Go to the Native American.
Yeah.
Plant medicine has been known in every indigenous culture with shamanic and healing and magic, for lack of a better word. But it is, when we don't understand it, it seems like magic. But we don't understand that we are influencing our reality with our intent, our belief, our consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that those plants have consciousness, and